Sebastian Blackwood's hands freeze on his Italian leather steering wheel as he watches the woman who's been cleaning his penthouse for 6 months step into a beat-up Honda Civic that shouldn't even be running. The engine coughs like it's dying, black smoke puffing from the exhaust, and something twists in his chest, something he doesn't recognize and doesn't want to name. He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be sitting in his Bentley in the parking garage of his own building at 6:17 p.m. on a Tuesday, watching his maid leave work. He shouldn't know that she always works late on Tuesdays, or that she takes exactly 4 minutes to gather her supplies, or that she moves through his 20,000-square-foot penthouse like she's afraid to disturb the air itself. But here he is, and there she is, and the Honda is pulling out of the garage with a grinding sound that makes him wince. Follow her. The thought hits him like a physical blow. He grips the steering wheel harder, his knuckles white against the black leather. This is insane. He's Sebastian Blackwood, he owns half of Manhattan, employs 3,000 people, and hasn't thought about anyone below his tax bracket in, well, ever. He doesn't follow the help. He doesn't even notice the help. Except he's been noticing Camila Reyes for weeks now. It started small. The way she hummed softly while she worked, melodies he didn't recognize but that somehow stayed in his head for hours after she left. The way she always left a single white rose from his weekly flower arrangement on his bedside table, not in a vase, just lying there like a whispered blessing. The way she moved through his space with a grace that made his chest tight, like she belonged there more than he did. And her eyes. God, her eyes. Dark and deep and full of something that looked like secrets. Every time he tried to make conversation, brief, appropriate exchanges about schedules or preferences, she'd look at him with those eyes and he'd forget what he was saying. The Honda turns left onto 5th Avenue, and before he can talk himself out of it, Sebastian is following. Welcome back to the channel, my sweet and loyal family. Hit subscribe if you're hooked in and ready to enjoy this story, because tomorrow, I have another beautiful story to share with you and I don't want you to miss it for anything. Now, let's continue. His hands are shaking. Shaking. When was the last time his hands shook? When his father died. When he'd closed his first billion-dollar deal. He can't remember, but they're shaking now as he keeps 3 cars behind the dying Honda, and he can't make them stop. This is wrong, his rational mind screams. This is stalking. This is exactly the kind of behavior that gets men like you in trouble. But his rational mind is being drowned out by something louder, something hungrier. For 6 months, Camila has been a ghost in his life, present but untouchable, real but unknowable. She arrives at dawn when he's already at the office, leaves at dusk when he's still in meetings. Their paths cross maybe twice a week, brief encounters in his marble hallway where she presses herself against the wall to let him pass, her eyes downcast, her voice barely above a whisper when she murmurs, "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood." He started coming home early on Tuesdays, just to catch those 2 seconds when she says his name. The Honda turns into a neighborhood Sebastian has never seen before, even though it's only 20 minutes from his penthouse. The buildings are smaller here, older, with fire escapes and laundry lines and children's bicycles chained to stoops. It's not ugly, it's just normal. Real. The kind of place where people live instead of just existing. What am I doing? The question pounds in his head as he parks across the street, watching Camila emerge from her car with a heavy bag slung over her shoulder. She looks exhausted. More than exhausted, she looks like she's carrying the weight of the world, and something in Sebastian's chest cracks open. She disappears into a narrow brownstone with peeling paint and windows that need washing, and Sebastian sits in his Bentley, engine running, air conditioning humming, feeling like he's watching a movie of someone else's life. 15 minutes pass. 20. He should leave. He should go home to his empty penthouse and his imported wine and his view of Central Park and forget that Camila Reyes exists beyond the 4 hours she spends making his life seamless. But then the front door opens again, and Camila emerges transformed. Gone is the tired woman in the plain uniform. This Camila wears scrubs, bright blue scrubs with little cartoon hearts on them, and sneakers that have seen better days but are spotlessly clean. Her long black hair, always pulled back in a severe bun while she works, now flows freely over her shoulders, and even from across the street, Sebastian can see that she's smiling. She's beautiful. The thought hits him with the force of a revelation. Not just pretty, not just attractive, beautiful in a way that makes his throat close up and his heart pound against his ribs like it's trying to escape. She walks 3 blocks to a bus stop, and Sebastian follows in his car, staying far enough back that she won't notice but close enough that he can see the way she nods to the other people waiting, the way she helps an elderly man with his groceries, The way she laughs at something a young mother says, and the sound carries across the evening air like music. When the bus arrives, Sebastian makes a decision that will change everything. He follows it. For 45 minutes, he follows that bus through neighborhoods that get progressively smaller, quieter, more worn around the edges. His Bentley stands out like a beacon, and he knows he should turn around, knows this has gone far beyond inappropriate into dangerous territory. But he can't stop. The bus stops in front of a building that makes Sebastian's chest tighten with something that might be anger or might be heartbreak. It's a nursing home, not one of the nice ones with marble lobbies and landscaped gardens, but the kind that takes Medicare patients and does its best with not enough funding and too few staff. Camila gets off the bus and walks through the front doors like she owns the place, and Sebastian sits in his car across the street, staring at the sign, Sunset Manor Care Facility. She has a second job. The realization hits him like a punch to the gut. After cleaning his penthouse for 8 hours, she comes here. To this place that smells like disinfectant and sadness, where she puts on those cheerful scrubs and takes care of people who have been forgotten by everyone else. Through the large windows, he can see her moving from room to room, and even from this distance, he can tell she moves differently here. Not like the careful, almost invisible ghost who cleans his home, but like someone who belongs, someone who's needed. Sebastian sits in his car for 2 hours, watching her work, and something fundamental shifts inside him. Something that's been locked away for so long he'd forgotten it existed. When was the last time I was needed? The question comes out of nowhere and hits him like a physical blow. When was the last time someone looked at him and saw more than a bank account, more than a name on a building, more than a signature on a check? When was the last time he mattered to someone in a way that couldn't be bought? What do you think drives someone to work 2 jobs just to take care of others? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear what motivates the caregivers in your life. Sebastian doesn't sleep. He lies in his king-sized bed, staring at the ceiling of his penthouse, replaying every moment of the evening on an endless loop. The way Camila's face lit up when she saw the elderly residents. The way she moved through those hallways with purpose, not the careful invisibility she wears in his home. The way she looked happy in a place that should have been depressing. At 3 a.m., he gets up and walks to his kitchen, where everything is spotless and perfect, just the way she left it. But now he notices things he's never seen before. The way his coffee mug sits exactly where he can reach it without thinking. The way his morning newspapers are folded just so. The way there's always fresh fruit in the bowl, arranged like a small work of art. She takes care of me, he realizes, and the thought makes his chest tight. She's been taking care of me for 6 months, and I never even noticed. He picks up the single white rose from his bedside table, the one she left yesterday, the one she leaves every day, and something breaks open inside him. Not just attraction, not just curiosity. Something deeper. Something that feels dangerously close to need. The next morning, Sebastian does something he's never done in his life. He stays home. He calls his assistant, cancels his morning meetings, and waits. At exactly 7:30 a.m., he hears her key in the lock, and his heart starts pounding like he's 17 again. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood." Her voice is the same, soft, careful, respectful. But now he can hear the exhaustion underneath it, the way she's forcing brightness into her tone. She couldn't have gotten more than 4 hours of sleep. "Good morning, Camila." He says her name deliberately, watches the way her eyes widen slightly. In 6 months, he's never used her first name. "You're here early." She freezes in the doorway of his kitchen, cleaning supplies clutched in her hands like armor. "I can come back later if you prefer. I didn't know you'd be home." "Don't you dare leave." The thought is so fierce it surprises him. "No, please. I wanted to talk to you." The words hang in the air between them, and Sebastian can see her calculating, trying to figure out what she's done wrong. The idea that she might think he's unhappy with her work makes his stomach clench. "Is everything all right? With the cleaning, I mean? If something isn't right, I can." "Everything is perfect." The words come out more intense than he intends, and he sees her take a small step back. He forces himself to soften his voice. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Everything you do it's perfect." She stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian feels like she's seeing straight through him. Those dark eyes that have haunted his dreams are studying his face, and he wonders what she sees there. "Thank you, Mr. Blackwood. That means a lot." It means everything. He wants to say the words, wants to cross the space between them and tell her that she's the only person who's made his life feel like living instead of just existing. Instead, he says, "Would you like some coffee? I just made a pot." The offer hangs between them like a bridge neither of them knows how to cross. Sebastian can see the war playing out on her face, surprise, uncertainty, something that might be longing. I don't think that would be appropriate." "Why not?" The question comes out before he can stop it. "It's just coffee." But they both know it's not just coffee. It's the first real conversation they've ever had. It's him seeing her as a person instead of a service. It's dangerous territory for both of them. "I have work to do," she says finally, but her voice is softer now, less certain. "So do I. But I'd rather have coffee with you." "Did I just say that?" Sebastian feels like he's standing on the edge of a cliff, and the ground is crumbling beneath his feet. He's never been this direct with anyone about anything that wasn't business. He doesn't know how to be vulnerable, how to want something he can't buy. Camila's cleaning supplies slip from her hands, clattering to the marble floor. Neither of them moves to pick them up. "Mr. Blackwood, Sebastian." The name comes out rough, desperate. "Please. Just call me Sebastian." She stares at him like he's lost his mind. Maybe he has. "I can't do that." "Why not?" "Because." She takes a shaky breath, and Sebastian can see her hands trembling. "Because you're you and I'm just." "You're just what?" He takes a step closer, and she doesn't back away. "Tell me what you are, Camila." "I'm nobody." The words are barely a whisper, but they hit Sebastian like a physical blow. "I'm just someone who cleans your house and takes your money and goes home to a life you could never understand." "You're everything." The words are right there, pressing against his teeth, begging to be spoken. Instead he says, "Try me." Something shifts in her face. A wall coming down, just a crack, just enough for him to see the woman underneath. "You really want to know?" "Yes." She looks around his kitchen, the granite countertops that cost more than most people make in a year, the custom cabinets, the view of Central Park through floor-to-ceiling windows. "I work 2 jobs. I've been working 2 jobs since I was 16. I take care of my mother, who has Alzheimer's and doesn't remember my name half the time. I take care of old people who don't have anyone else. I haven't had a day off in 3 years." Each word is a small explosion in Sebastian's chest. "The nursing home." Her eyes go wide. "How do you?" "I followed you." The confession comes out before he can stop it, and he watches her face cycle through shock, fear, and something that might be anger. "I'm sorry. I know how that sounds, but I had to know. I had to understand why you always look so tired, why you work so hard, why you—" He trails off, not sure how to finish the sentence without revealing too much. "Why I what?" Her voice is sharp now, protective. "Why you matter to me." The words fall into the space between them like stones into still water, creating ripples that can't be taken back. Camila sinks into one of his kitchen chairs like her legs won't hold her anymore. "This is insane." "I know. You can't just say things like that." "Why not?" "Because." She throws her hands up, frustration and something else, something that looks like longing, warring in her expression. "Because you're Sebastian Blackwood, and I'm a maid. Because you live in a penthouse that costs more than I'll make in my entire lifetime. Because you could have anyone, and I'm just. You're just the woman who's been taking care of me for 6 months without me even realizing it." Sebastian sits down across from her, and for the first time since she started working for him, they're on the same level. "You're the woman who leaves me a rose every day like a gift I didn't know I needed. You're the woman who makes my coffee exactly the way I like it without me ever telling you how. You're the woman who hums while she works, and I find myself coming home early just to hear it." Tears are gathering in her eyes, and Sebastian feels something crack open in his chest. "Don't cry. Please don't cry." "I'm not crying." But she is, tears sliding down her cheeks like silver tracks. "This is crazy. This whole conversation is crazy." "Maybe." He reaches across the table, covers her hand with his. Her skin is warm, calloused from work, real in a way that makes his throat close up. But I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop wondering what your voice sounds like when you're not being careful. I can't stop wanting to know everything about you. She stares down at their joined hands like she's seeing a miracle. I think about you too. The admission is so quiet he almost misses it, but it hits him like lightning. You do. I shouldn't. She pulls her hand away, and Sebastian immediately misses the warmth. I shouldn't think about whether you eat the breakfast I leave for you. I shouldn't notice that you work too late and don't sleep enough. I shouldn't care that you never have friends over, never seem to have anyone to talk to. I shouldn't wonder if you're lonely. I am. The words stick in his throat. I'm so lonely I can barely breathe. I shouldn't want to take care of you, she continues, her voice getting stronger. But I do. I want to make sure you eat real food and get enough sleep and have someone who notices when you're stressed. I want to be the person who makes your life easier, not because it's my job, but because. Because why? She looks up at him, and Sebastian sees everything he's been feeling reflected in her eyes. The confusion, the longing, the terrifying possibility that this could be real. Because somewhere along the way, I started falling for you. And I know that's impossible and inappropriate and completely insane, but I can't help it. I look forward to Tuesday mornings because I know you'll be here. I leave you roses because I want you to have something beautiful in your life. I hum while I work because I imagine you listening, and it makes me feel less alone. Sebastian's heart is pounding so hard he's surprised it doesn't echo in the marble kitchen. Camila. I should go. She stands up abruptly, reaching for her cleaning supplies. I should quit. This is exactly why employees and employers shouldn't. Don't. Sebastian is on his feet before she can finish the sentence. Don't quit. Don't run. Don't pretend this isn't happening. It can't happen. But she's not moving toward the door. She's standing there, looking at him like she's drowning and he's the only person who can save her. Why not? Because you're going to realize I'm not worth it. Because this is your life, and I'm just someone who passes through it. Because when you get bored or your friends find out or you remember who you are and who I am, you'll let me go, and I'll have to pretend my heart isn't breaking. The fear in her voice destroys him. That's not going to happen. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Sebastian takes a step closer, and this time she doesn't back away. Because I've never felt this way before. Because I've never wanted to know someone the way I want to know you. Because I've never needed someone the way I need you. They're close enough now that he can see the gold flecks in her dark eyes, can smell the faint scent of lavender that clings to her skin. Close enough that if he leaned down just a little, if she rose up just a little. This is crazy, she whispers. I know. You could lose everything. I already have everything. It just doesn't mean anything without you. Have you ever felt a connection so strong it scared you? Sometimes the most terrifying thing is realizing someone could actually matter. What do you think Camila should do? Follow her heart or protect herself? Let me know in the comments. 3 days later, Sebastian finds himself doing something he's never done before. He cancels a board meeting. Not reschedules. Cancels. His assistant, Patricia, stares at him like he's announced he's joining the circus. Sir, this is the quarterly review. The shareholders are flying in from London. Reschedule it. For when? Sebastian doesn't answer because he doesn't know. All he knows is that it's Tuesday, and Camila will be here in 20 minutes, and something shifted between them in his kitchen 3 days ago that can't be undone. Something that makes quarterly reports feel meaningless and shareholder meetings feel like elaborate games played by people who've forgotten what actually matters. Sir. Figure it out, Patricia. That's what I pay you for. He hangs up before she can respond, and immediately his phone starts buzzing with calls from board members, investors, people whose entire existence revolves around his decisions. Sebastian turns it off and throws it in a drawer. For the first time in his adult life, the business can wait. At exactly 7:30 a.m., he hears her key in the lock, and his heart does the thing it's been doing for 3 days, hammering against his ribs like it's trying to escape. He's positioned himself at the kitchen island, laptop open, pretending to work, but his eyes are on the doorway. Good morning, Mr. Blackwood. She's back to using his last name, back to that careful professional distance, and it cuts through him like a blade. The last 3 days have been torture, wanting to call her, wanting to text her, wanting to show up at the nursing home just to see her face. Instead, he's done nothing, and now she's treating him like a stranger again. "Good morning, Camila." He says her name deliberately, the same way he did 3 days ago, and watches her fingers tighten on her cleaning supplies. "I made coffee." It's become their code, he realizes. "I made coffee" means stay. "Talk to me. Don't pretend Thursday didn't happen." She hesitates in the doorway, and Sebastian can see the war playing out on her face. Professional distance versus whatever this is between them. Safety versus the possibility of something real. "I have a lot to do today," she says finally, but her voice lacks conviction. "So do I." Sebastian closes his laptop. "I canceled a board meeting." Her eyes go wide. "You what?" "You heard me." Sebastian. His name on her lips sounds like a prayer and a curse at the same time. "You can't do things like that. Not for me." "Why not?" "Because I'm not worth it." The words explode out of her with a force that makes Sebastian physically step back. This isn't the careful, controlled woman who's been cleaning his house for 6 months. This is raw pain, years of believing she doesn't matter, doesn't deserve good things. "Don't say that." His voice comes out rougher than he intends. "Don't ever say that." "It's true." Tears are gathering in her eyes, and Sebastian feels something crack open in his chest. "You don't understand. You don't know who I am, what I come from. You think you want this, but you don't know what you're asking for." "Then tell me." Sebastian moves around the kitchen island, closing the distance between them. "Tell me who you are. Tell me what I'm asking for." She backs toward the wall, but there's nowhere to go, and Sebastian can see her hands shaking. "You don't want to know." "Yes, I do." He stops just close enough to reach out and touch her, but he doesn't. "Not yet. I want to know everything. Where you grew up, what you're afraid of, what makes you laugh. I want to know why you work 2 jobs and why you never talk about yourself and why you look like you're carrying the weight of the world." "Sebastian, please. I want to know why you think you're not worth a cancelled board meeting when you're the most important thing in my life." The words hang between them like a bridge neither of them knows how to cross. Camila's eyes are wide, searching his face like she's looking for the lie, the catch, the moment when he'll take it all back. "You don't mean that." "I've never meant anything more in my life." She stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian can see the exact second when her walls start to crumble. It's like watching a dam break in slow motion, all that carefully controlled composure giving way to something raw and real and beautiful. "I was 16 when my father left," she says finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "Just disappeared one day. Left a note saying he couldn't handle it anymore. Handle my mother's diagnosis, handle the bills, handle having a family that needed him." Sebastian's hands clench into fists at his sides. The urge to find this man, to make him pay for every day of pain he's caused, is so strong it takes his breath away. "My mother was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's when I was 15, Camila continues, and now that she started talking, the words pour out like a flood. She was 42. 42 years old, and her mind was already slipping away. One day she was helping me with homework, and the next she was asking me who I was. Camila. I dropped out of high school to take care of her. Got my GED later, but college was never an option. I've been working since I was 16, cleaning houses, waiting tables, anything that paid cash and let me work around her schedule. When she got worse, I had to put her in a facility, and the only place that would take someone so young was." She swallows hard. "It wasn't a good place. The staff was overworked, underpaid. Patients were neglected, sometimes worse." Sebastian feels sick. "What did you do?" "I got a job there. Started as a cleaning lady, worked my way up to aide. I couldn't move her, the waiting lists for better places are years long, and even the bad ones cost more than I make. So I stayed. I take every shift I can get so I can watch over her, make sure she's safe." "And you work here too?" "The nursing home barely pays minimum wage. I need the money from your job to cover her medical expenses, her medication, the extras that insurance doesn't cover." Camila wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. "Some months I have to choose between her physical therapy and groceries. Some months I don't eat for days so I can afford her medication." The rage that courses through Sebastian is unlike anything he's ever felt. Not at her, never at her, but at a system that could let this happen. At her father for abandoning them. At himself for having so much while she has so little. "How old are you?" he asks quietly. 28. 28. She's been doing this for 12 years. 12 years of sacrificing everything for someone who doesn't even remember her name half the time. 12 years of choosing others over herself, of working herself to exhaustion, of believing she doesn't deserve more. "She doesn't remember me anymore," Camila continues, her voice breaking. "Most days, she doesn't know who I am. Sometimes she's afraid of me. Sometimes she asks for her mother, who died 30 years ago. But I can't stop taking care of her. She's all I have left of my family, and I can't just let her go." Sebastian closes the distance between them in 2 steps, and before Camila can protest, he pulls her into his arms. She resists for half a second, then collapses against his chest like all the fight has gone out of her. "I'm so tired," she whispers into his shirt, and Sebastian feels his heart break completely. "I'm so tired of pretending I'm strong enough for this. I'm so tired of being alone." "You're not alone." Sebastian's voice is rough with emotion as he holds her tighter. "Not anymore." They stand like that for a long time, her tears soaking through his shirt, his hands stroking her hair. Time distorts around them, minutes feeling like hours, hours feeling like seconds. Sebastian has never held anyone like this, has never felt this desperate need to fix someone else's pain. "I want to help," he says finally. Camila pulls back, wiping her eyes. "You can't." "Yes, I can. I can move your mother to a better facility. I can pay for the best doctors, the best care." "No." The word comes out sharp, final. "Absolutely not." "Camila, be reasonable. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Let me." "Let you what?" "Buy me." Her eyes flash with something that might be anger or might be hurt. "Turn me into your charity case? Your good deed for the year?" "That's not what this is." "Isn't it?" She steps away from him, and Sebastian immediately feels the loss of her warmth. Rich man saves poor girl from her tragic life? What happens when you get bored of playing savior? What happens when you realize I come with baggage you can't just throw money at? That's not going to happen. You don't know that. Her voice breaks on the words. You don't know what it's like to watch someone you love disappear piece by piece. You don't know what it's like to have them look at you like you're a stranger, to have them be afraid of you, to have them forget every moment you've ever shared. Sebastian reaches for her, but she backs away. "Camila, please. You don't know what it's like to choose between medication and food, to work 16-hour days and still not have enough, to lie awake at night wondering if you're strong enough to do it for another day, another month, another year. Then tell me." Sebastian's voice is desperate now. "Let me understand. Let me be there for you." "Why?" The question comes out raw, broken. "Why would you want to sign up for this? Why would you want someone whose life is so complicated, so messy, so—" "Because I love you." The words fall into the silence between them like stones into still water, creating ripples that can't be taken back. Sebastian didn't plan to say them, didn't even realize he was thinking them, but the moment they're out, he knows they're true. Camila stares at him like he's lost his mind. "You don't love me. You can't love me. You barely know me." "I know enough." Sebastian takes a step closer, and this time she doesn't back away. "I know you work yourself to exhaustion to take care of people who need you. I know you leave me roses because you want to bring beauty into the world. I know you hum while you work because you refuse to let the sadness win. I know you're the strongest person I've ever met, and the most beautiful, and the only one who's ever made me feel like I'm worth something more than my bank account." Tears are streaming down her face now, and Sebastian reaches up to wipe them away with his thumbs. "I know I want to wake up every morning knowing you're safe and happy. I know I want to be the person you come to when you're tired, when you're scared, when you need someone to hold you. I know I want to spend the rest of my life making sure you never have to choose between medication and food again." Sebastian. His name on her lips is barely a whisper. "I know I've never felt this way before, and I know I'll never feel this way about anyone else. So yes, I love you. I love your strength and your compassion and your stubbornness. I love the way you take care of everyone else and forget to take care of yourself. I love you so much it scares me, because I've never needed anyone before, and I need you like I need air. Camila closes her eyes, and when she opens them again, Sebastian sees everything he's been hoping for reflected there. Love, yes, but also terror. The recognition that this changes everything, that there's no going back from here. If I let you in, she says quietly, if I let you be part of this mess that is my life, you have to understand that it's not going to be easy. My mother might never get better. There will be bad days, terrible days. There will be times when I'm not enough, when I'm too tired or too sad or too broken to be what you need. Then we'll figure it out together. There will be people who don't understand. Your friends, your business associates. They'll think you're crazy for being with someone like me. Let them think whatever they want. There will be days when I can't give you what you deserve because I'm giving everything I have to her. Sebastian cups her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. Then I'll wait. I'll be patient. I'll love you through the hard days and the good days and everything in between. I'll be whatever you need me to be. Promise me. Her voice is urgent now, desperate. Promise me that when it gets hard, and it will get hard, you won't just walk away. Promise me you won't abandon us like he did. I promise. The words come from somewhere deep in his chest, from a place he didn't know existed until he met her. I promise I'll never leave you. I promise I'll never make you choose between me and her. I promise I'll love you exactly as you are, baggage and all. Camila stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian can see her making the choice. The moment when she decides to trust him, to let him into her carefully guarded world, to risk everything on the possibility that this could be real. I love you too, she whispers, and Sebastian's heart stops completely. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you enough to let you break my heart. And then she's kissing him, or he's kissing her, and Sebastian isn't sure who moved first, but suddenly her hands are in his hair and his arms are around her waist, and she tastes like coffee and tears and the promise of everything he's ever wanted. When someone shows you their deepest vulnerabilities, how do you know if you're strong enough to handle them? Real love isn't just about the good times. It's about showing up when things get messy. Have you ever had to make that choice? Share your thoughts below. The first thing Sebastian learns about loving Camila is that she doesn't know how to be loved. It's been 2 weeks since their first kiss, 2 weeks since she let him into her carefully guarded world, and she still jumps when he brings her coffee in the morning. Still looks surprised when he asks about her day. Still tries to clean his kitchen after he cooks for her, like she can't quite believe someone would take care of her without expecting payment. You don't have to do that, Sebastian says, catching her hands as she reaches for the dishes. They're in his kitchen at 8 p.m. on a Thursday, and for the first time in years, Sebastian isn't thinking about work, isn't checking his phone, isn't calculating profit margins in his head. All he wants is to watch Camila eat the dinner he made for her and listen to her talk about her day. I know, she says, but she's already pulling away, already reaching for the soap. But it feels wrong not to. Sebastian catches her wrist gently, pulls her back to him. Hey, look at me. She does, those dark eyes still carrying traces of disbelief, like she's waiting for him to remember who he is and send her away. You're not my employee anymore, he says quietly. You're my girlfriend. You're the woman I'm falling more in love with every day. You don't have to earn your place here. Girlfriend. The word still sounds strange on his tongue, foreign and wonderful and terrifying all at once. Sebastian has never had a girlfriend. He's had arrangements, transactions, women who wanted his money or his connections or his name. But never this. Never someone who looks at him like he's the most important thing in her world, someone who makes him feel like he's worth more than his bank account. I'm still figuring it out, Camila admits, leaning into his touch. I've never had someone want to take care of me before. Get used to it. Sebastian kisses her forehead, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, something simple and clean that costs a fraction of what his cologne costs but somehow smells like home. Because I plan on doing it for the rest of my life. The words slip out before he can stop them, and Sebastian feels Camila go still in his arms. Too much, too fast, he thinks, panic clawing at his chest. You're going to scare her away. But when he looks down at her, she's smiling. Not the careful professional smile she used to wear when she worked for him, but something real and radiant and just for him. The rest of your life, she teases, and Sebastian's heart starts beating again. If you'll have me. Ask me in a year, she says, standing on her tiptoes to kiss him. When you've seen me at my absolute worst and still think I'm worth keeping around. I already have, Sebastian thinks, remembering the day she broke down in his kitchen, the raw pain in her voice when she told him about her mother. And you're worth everything. 3 weeks later, Sebastian meets Elena Reyes for the first time. Camila has been nervous about it for days, alternating between excitement and terror in a way that makes Sebastian's chest tight. She wants them to meet, wants the two most important people in her life to know each other, but she's also terrified that her mother will have a bad day, that she won't remember Camila, that Sebastian will see just how broken their situation really is. What if she doesn't like me? Sebastian asks as they walk through the halls of Sunset Manor. He's been in a lot of intimidating situations, hostile takeovers, board meetings where his future was on the line, negotiations worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but nothing has ever made him as nervous as meeting the woman who raised the love of his life. She's going to love you, Camila says, but Sebastian can hear the uncertainty in her voice. She's having a good day today. She remembered my name this morning, asked about work. Sometimes she remembers things from when I was little. They stop outside a room at the end of the hall, and Camila takes a deep breath. Just, don't take it personally if she forgets who you are. And don't correct her if she thinks you're someone else. It only confuses her more. Sebastian nods, and Camila opens the door. Elena Reyes is smaller than he expected, fragile in a way that makes Sebastian's chest ache. She's sitting by the window, looking out at a small garden, and when she turns toward them, Sebastian can see exactly where Camila gets her eyes. Mija, Elena says, and her voice is soft, loving, completely present. You came. I always come, Mama, Camila says, crossing to her mother and kissing her cheek. I brought someone to meet you. This is Sebastian. Elena looks at Sebastian with curious eyes, and he can see her trying to place him, trying to figure out how he fits into her daughter's life. Sebastian, she repeats, testing the name. Are you the one who makes my Camila smile? The question catches Sebastian off guard, and he glances at Camila, who's blushing. I hope so, ma'am. Good. Elena nods approvingly. She works too hard, my girl. Always taking care of everyone else. She needs someone to take care of her for once. I'm trying to convince her of that, Sebastian says, and Elena laughs, a sound so much like Camila's that Sebastian's throat closes up. They spend 2 hours in that room, and Sebastian watches Camila transform. With her mother, she's different, younger somehow, lighter. She talks about her childhood, about the stories Elena used to tell her, about the way her mother taught her to cook and clean and take care of people. Elena drifts in and out of the present, sometimes forgetting where she is, sometimes calling Sebastian by another name, but there are moments of perfect clarity where Sebastian can see the woman she used to be. You're good for her, Elena says suddenly, during one of those clear moments. She's looking at Sebastian with sharp eyes, and he realizes he's being evaluated. She's been alone too long, taking care of everyone but herself. I won't let her be alone anymore, Sebastian promises, and Elena nods like she's sealing a deal. When they leave, Camila is crying, not from sadness, but from something that looks like relief. She liked you, she says as they walk to the bus stop. Sebastian has offered to drive her dozens of times, but she always says the bus gives her time to think, to process her visits with her mother. She loves you so much, Sebastian says, and he means it. Even in her confusion, even when she doesn't remember names or faces, Elena's love for her daughter is constant, unwavering. You can see it in everything she does. Some days she doesn't know who I am, Camila says quietly. Some days she's afraid of me, thinks I'm a stranger trying to hurt her. But today she was my mama again. Sebastian takes her hand, squeezes it gently. There will be more days like today. And more days like the bad ones too. I'll be there for both. A month later, Sebastian realizes he's completely rewritten his life around Camila's schedule. He works from home on Tuesdays so he can have breakfast with her. He's moved his evening meetings to accommodate her shifts at the nursing home. He's learned to cook, not just simple things, but real meals that will give her energy for her long days. He's created a small library in his penthouse filled with books about Alzheimer's, about caregiving, about how to love someone who's loving someone else who's disappearing. You don't have to do all this, Camila says one evening as she finds him reading about memory care techniques. They're in his living room, her feet in his lap, both of them exhausted from their respective days but content to be together. I want to understand, Sebastian says, looking up from the book. I want to be able to help when she has a bad day. I want to know what you're going through. Camila stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian can see something shift in her expression. A wall coming down, a final piece of her heart that she's been protecting finally opening to him. I love you, she says, and the words are different somehow. Not desperate or scared like the first time she said them, but certain. Final. Like a decision she's made and will never take back. I love you too, Sebastian says, and pulls her into his arms. They've developed rituals. Small things that mark their days together, make them feel like a real couple instead of something stolen from the edges of their separate lives. Sebastian makes coffee every morning and leaves it on the counter where Camila will find it when she wakes up. Camila leaves him notes, sometimes just a few words, sometimes longer, tucked into his briefcase or his jacket pocket. Sebastian has started keeping fresh flowers in every room, because he noticed how Camila's face lights up when she sees them. Camila has started cooking on weekends, filling his kitchen with smells and sounds and laughter he never knew he needed. What are you thinking about? Camila asks one Sunday morning. They're in bed, lazy and content, sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his bedroom. Sebastian is tracing patterns on her bare shoulder, marveling at the fact that she's here, that she's his, that he gets to wake up next to her. Just this, he says honestly. You. Us. How different everything is now. Good different or bad different. The best different. Sebastian kisses her shoulder, tastes salt and sweetness and something uniquely her. I keep thinking about 6 months ago. How empty everything was. How I went through the motions of living without actually being alive. You were alive, Camila protests, but Sebastian shakes his head. I was existing. There's a difference. He pulls her closer, fits her against his side like she was made to be there. Now I know what it feels like to have something to come home to. Someone to worry about, someone to miss when I'm gone. Someone who misses me. I always miss you, Camila says softly. Even when I'm working, even when I'm with Mama, part of me is always thinking about you. Wondering what you're doing, if you're taking care of yourself, when I'll see you again. Sebastian's heart clenches with something that might be joy or might be terror. Is that normal? This feeling like I can't breathe when you're not here. I don't know. Camila props herself up on her elbow, looks down at him with those dark eyes that have haunted his dreams for months. I've never felt this way before either. Sometimes it scares me how much I need you. Don't be scared, Sebastian says, reaching up to cup her face. We're in this together now. Whatever happens, we figure it out together. Have you ever loved someone so completely that it changed who you are at your core? That feeling of finding your person can be both the most beautiful and most terrifying thing in the world. What does home mean to you? Is it a place or a person? Share your thoughts. But even as Sebastian says the words, even as Camila smiles and kisses him and settles back into his arms, he can't shake the feeling that something is coming. Something that will test every promise he's just made. It starts small. A phone call from his lawyer that he lets go to voicemail. An email from his board of directors that he deletes without reading. A text from his business partner James that simply says, "We need to talk." Sebastian ignores them all. He's taken a step back from the day-to-day operations of his company, delegating more, working from home, prioritizing his life with Camila over quarterly reports and acquisition deals. His empire won't crumble if he's not personally overseeing every decision, and for the first time in his adult life, Sebastian has something more important than money. But the calls keep coming. The emails multiply. And James shows up at his building one evening, demanding to see him. You can't keep avoiding this, James says when Sebastian reluctantly lets him into the penthouse. James Mitchell has been Sebastian's business partner for 15 years, his closest friend, the only person who's seen Sebastian at his worst and still stuck around. Until now, Sebastian would have said James was the most important person in his life. Now, James feels like a stranger from another world. Avoiding what? Sebastian asks, though he knows. He's been ignoring the business, delegating his responsibilities, missing meetings. The board is starting to ask questions. The Henderson acquisition. The Tokyo expansion. The shareholders' meeting that you've postponed 3 times. James looks around the penthouse like he's never seen it before, and Sebastian realizes that James is seeing it through new eyes. Seeing the fresh flowers, the second coffee cup on the counter, the touches of warmth and life that Camila has brought to his sterile space. I've been busy, Sebastian says, which is both true and completely inadequate. With what? With whom? James's eyes narrow, and Sebastian can see him putting pieces together. There's someone, isn't there? Someone who's got you so twisted up you're willing to throw away everything we've built. I'm not throwing anything away. Aren't you? James crosses to the window, looks out at the city that Sebastian used to think belonged to him. You've missed 4 board meetings. You haven't reviewed a single acquisition proposal in 2 months. You postponed the Henderson deal indefinitely, and they're starting to look elsewhere. Do you have any idea what that's going to cost us? Sebastian should care. 6 months ago, the Henderson deal was the most important thing in his world. Now it feels like someone else's problem. The company is fine, Sebastian says. Better than fine. We're profitable, we're growing. We're stagnating. James turns from the window, and Sebastian can see real concern in his eyes. Sebastian, you built this empire from nothing. You've worked 16-hour days for 20 years to get where you are. You don't just walk away from that. I'm not walking away. I'm just reprioritizing. For what? For some woman you've known for a few months. The dismissive way James says some woman makes Sebastian's hands clench into fists. Be very careful how you talk about her. James stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian can see understanding dawn in his eyes. Jesus, Sebastian. You're in love with her. Yes. Who is she? Someone from our circle? A board member's daughter? Please tell me she's not married. Sebastian thinks about Camila, probably at the nursing home right now, taking care of people who need her, working herself to exhaustion for barely enough money to survive. He thinks about her hands, calloused from work, about her eyes, tired but always kind, about the way she still jumps sometimes when he brings her coffee, like she can't believe someone wants to take care of her. She's my maid, Sebastian says quietly. The silence that follows is deafening. James stares at him like he's announced he's leaving to join a cult. Your maid, James repeats slowly. Former maid. She doesn't work for me anymore. Sebastian, please tell me you're joking. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. James sinks into one of Sebastian's leather chairs like his legs won't hold him anymore. Do you have any idea what this is going to do to your reputation? To the company's reputation? The board will never. I don't care what the board thinks. You should care. James is on his feet again, pacing, his voice rising. You should care because your reputation is everything in this business. You should care because there are 3,000 people depending on this company for their livelihoods. You should care because you've worked your entire adult life to build something that matters, and you're about to throw it all away for some gold digging. Don't. Sebastian's voice is deadly quiet. Don't finish that sentence. Sebastian, be realistic. What are the odds that a woman in her position isn't at least partially motivated by your money? What are the odds that this is real and not just the most elaborate con you've ever fallen for? The words hit Sebastian like physical blows, not because he believes them, but because he can see exactly how this looks from the outside. Billionaire falls for his cleaning lady. It's the plot of a dozen movies, the setup for 1,000 jokes. And James is right about one thing: the board will never understand. The shareholders will see it as a liability. The press will have a field day. But then Sebastian thinks about the way Camila looks at him when she thinks he's not watching, like she can't quite believe he's real. He thinks about her tears when she told him about her mother, about the way she tried to refuse his help even when she desperately needed it. He thinks about the morning he found her cleaning his kitchen at 5 a.m. because she couldn't sleep, and when he asked her why, she said, "I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and this will all be a dream." It's real, Sebastian says firmly. She's real. What we have is real. Even if it is, James says, and Sebastian can hear him trying to be reasonable, trying to be the voice of logic, you have to see how this looks. You have to understand what you're risking. I understand perfectly. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're about to destroy everything you've worked for. And for what? For love. James says the word like it's a disease. Sebastian, you're 35 years old. You're worth more than some small country's GDP. You can have any woman you want. I want her. Why? What is it about this woman that's worth risking everything for? Sebastian opens his mouth to answer, then closes it. How does he explain that Camila sees him, really sees him, in a way no one else ever has? How does he explain that she makes him feel like a person instead of a portfolio? How does he explain that she's the first thing that's ever made him feel truly alive? You wouldn't understand, Sebastian says finally. Try me. But before Sebastian can answer, he hears a key in the lock, and his heart stops. Camila is home early from her shift, and she's about to walk into the middle of a conversation that could destroy everything. The door opens, and Camila steps into the penthouse, still in her scrubs, looking tired but happy. She's smiling, probably looking forward to the quiet evening they had planned, and Sebastian can see the exact moment she realizes they're not alone. Oh, she says, stopping in the doorway. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had company. James turns to look at her, and Sebastian watches his friend's face carefully. He's expecting judgment, dismissal, maybe even disgust. Instead, he sees surprise. Because Camila is beautiful, not in the polished, artificial way of the women in their social circle, but in a way that's real and warm and impossible to ignore. Camila, Sebastian says, crossing to her and taking her hands. This is James Mitchell, my business partner. James, this is Camila Reyes. It's nice to meet you, Camila says politely, extending her hand to James. Sebastian's told me so much about you. James shakes her hand, and Sebastian can see him trying to reconcile this soft-spoken, obviously exhausted woman with whatever he was expecting. You too, James says, and Sebastian can hear the confusion in his voice. I should let you two finish your meeting, Camila says, already stepping back toward the door. I can come back later, or... No. Sebastian catches her hand, pulls her back to his side. Don't go. We're done here. James looks between them, and Sebastian can see him taking in the way Camila leans into Sebastian's touch, the way Sebastian's entire body seems to relax the moment she's near. This isn't what a gold digger looks like. This isn't what a con artist looks like. This is what love looks like, and even James, for all his cynicism, can see it. Actually, James says slowly, I think we should talk. All of us. Sebastian tenses, ready to protect Camila from whatever James is about to say, but James's next words surprise him. I owe you an apology, James says to Camila. I said some things about you before you arrived, things I shouldn't have said. I was wrong. Camila looks confused, glances at Sebastian for explanation, but Sebastian is staring at James in shock. I still think Sebastian is making a mistake, James continues, but not the mistake I thought he was making. The mistake is thinking he can have both, this company and this relationship. The board will never accept it. The shareholders will see it as a liability. The press will crucify both of you. James, Sebastian starts, but James holds up a hand. I'm not done. Sebastian, you're my best friend. You've been like a brother to me for 15 years. And I've never seen you happy. Not really happy. But you're happy now. James looks at Camila, then back at Sebastian. So here's what I think you should do. I think you should choose. The words hang in the air like a death sentence. Sebastian's blood runs cold, and he feels Camila's hand tighten in his. Choose. Sebastian's voice comes out rougher than he intends. The company or her. You can't have both. Not in this world, not with the people we deal with. They'll destroy her to get to you, and they'll destroy you for loving her. So choose. Camila makes a small sound beside him, like she's been punched in the stomach. Sebastian turns to look at her, and he can see the exact moment when she realizes what James is really saying. You're going to have to give up everything for me. I'm going to cost you everything you've worked for. I'm going to destroy your life. No, Sebastian says firmly. I'm not choosing. I'm not giving up either. Sebastian, James says gently, be realistic. You think the board is going to let you stay on as CEO when tabloids start running stories about your cleaning lady girlfriend? You think shareholders are going to trust you to make billion-dollar decisions when they think you're being manipulated by? Get out. Sebastian's voice is deadly quiet. Sebastian. Get out of my home. Now. James stares at him for a long moment, then nods slowly. I hope you know what you're doing, he says. I hope she's worth it. She is. James looks at Camila one more time, and Sebastian can see something like pity in his eyes. I hope you are too, he says to her. Because they're going to come for you. And when they do, it's going to get ugly. After James leaves, Sebastian and Camila stand in the silence of his penthouse, the weight of his words settling between them like a physical presence. He's right, isn't he? Camila says finally, her voice barely above a whisper. About what? About me destroying your life. Sebastian turns to face her fully, cups her face in his hands. You're not destroying anything. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. But even as he says the words, even as Camila leans into his touch and whispers that she loves him, Sebastian can't shake the feeling that James was right about one thing. They're going to come for her. And when they do, it's going to change everything. 3 days after James's visit, Sebastian wakes up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. His phone is buzzing against his nightstand like an angry wasp, and Camila stirs beside him, mumbling something incoherent into his chest. Sebastian reaches for the phone with one hand, keeping the other arm wrapped around her, trying not to disturb the peaceful morning they've carved out of their chaotic lives. The first text is from James. Check your email. Now. The second is from his assistant. Sir, we have a situation. The third is from his lawyer. Don't say anything to anyone until we talk. Sebastian's blood runs cold. He carefully extracts himself from Camila's arms, grabs his laptop from the dresser, and heads to the kitchen. Whatever this is, he doesn't want Camila to see it until he understands what they're dealing with. But nothing could have prepared him for what's waiting in his inbox. The email is from an address he doesn't recognize, with a subject line that makes his stomach drop. Interesting company you've been keeping, Mr. Blackwood. Inside are photos. Dozens of them. Sebastian leaving his building with Camila. Sebastian and Camila at a restaurant uptown. Sebastian's hand on the small of Camila's back as they walk through Central Park. Sebastian kissing her outside the nursing home, unaware that someone was watching, documenting, building a case against them. But the photos aren't the worst part. The worst part is the attached document, a detailed dossier on Camila's life that reads like a prosecutor's opening statement. Subject: Camila Elena Reyes, age 28. Current employment: cleaning service, terminated, nursing aide. Financial status: significant debt, multiple unpaid bills. Family: mother Elena Reyes, early onset Alzheimer's, residing at Sunset Manor Care Facility. Criminal history: none. Educational background: high school dropout, GED obtained 2018. Romantic history: no significant relationships documented. Assessment: classic gold digger profile. Targets wealthy, isolated individuals. Uses sob story about sick mother to elicit sympathy and financial support. Recommend immediate termination of relationship to avoid reputational damage. Sebastian's hands are shaking so badly he can barely hold the laptop. Someone has been watching them, investigating Camila, reducing her life to a series of bullet points designed to make her look like a predator. His phone rings. James. Please tell me you saw the email, James says without preamble. Who sent this? Sebastian's voice comes out rougher than he intends. Does it matter? Sebastian, this is exactly what I was talking about. Someone on the board hired a private investigator. They have photos, financial records, a complete background check. They're going to use this to force you out. They can't. They can and they will. There's an emergency board meeting scheduled for this afternoon. They're going to present this evidence and ask for a vote of no confidence. Sebastian sinks into one of his kitchen chairs, the laptop still open in front of him, those cold, clinical words turning the woman he loves into a case study in manipulation. There's more, James says quietly. The investigator also looked into her mother's situation. The nursing home is in violation of several health codes. They could lose their license, their funding. If that happens. Sebastian's blood turns to ice. What are you saying? I'm saying someone has leverage over both of you now. They can destroy her mother's care with a phone call. They can destroy your reputation with a press release. They have you exactly where they want you. What do they want? For you to end it. Publicly. Make a statement that you were temporarily led astray, that you've come to your senses, that you're focused on the company again. Cut all ties with her, make it clear it was a mistake. The words hit Sebastian like physical blows. And if I don't? They destroy both of you. Your reputation, your company, her mother's care. Everything. Sebastian closes his eyes, and for a moment, he can't breathe. This is what love costs, he realizes. This is the price of caring about someone in a world that sees everything as a transaction. Sebastian. James's voice is gentle now, concerned. I'm sorry. I know you love her, but... don't. Sebastian hangs up, throws his phone across the kitchen. It hits the marble counter and cracks, the sound echoing through his penthouse like a gunshot. Sebastian. He turns to see Camila standing in the doorway, wearing one of his shirts, her hair mussed from sleep, looking beautiful and vulnerable and completely unaware that their world is about to implode. What's wrong? She asks, and Sebastian can see the exact moment she notices his expression, the way her face changes from sleepy contentment to sharp concern. What happened? Sebastian looks at the laptop, at those photos of them together, at the clinical assessment of her life that makes her sound like a criminal. He should tell her. He should warn her, prepare her for what's coming. Instead, he closes the laptop. Nothing, he says, and the lie tastes like poison. Just work stuff. But Camila knows him too well now. She can read the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands are clenched into fists, the way he won't quite meet her eyes. Sebastian, talk to me. What's going on? Before he can answer, his building's doorman calls through the intercom. Mr. Blackwood? There's a reporter here from the New York Post. She says she has some questions about your personal life. Sebastian's stomach drops. They're not waiting for the board meeting. They're going public now, forcing his hand. Tell her I'm not available, Sebastian says into the intercom, but even as he says it, his phone, the cracked one on the counter, starts buzzing with calls from numbers he doesn't recognize. Camila picks up the phone, frowns at the caller ID. Sebastian, there are like 15 missed calls from reporters. What? She stops mid-sentence as the phone rings again, and this time she answers before Sebastian can stop her. Hello? No, this is... what? What article? Sebastian watches the color drain from her face. I don't understand. What photos? Sebastian lunges for the phone, but it's too late. Camila has already heard enough. They have photos of us, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. The reporter said there's going to be an article. About us. About how I... She can't finish the sentence, but Sebastian can see the realization dawning in her eyes. Camila. They think I'm using you. It's not a question. They think I'm some kind of, oh God. She sinks into a chair, her hands covering her face. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is exactly why I said no at first. It's going to be okay, Sebastian says, but the words sound hollow even to him. We'll figure this out. How? Camila looks up at him, and Sebastian can see tears gathering in her eyes. How do we figure this out? How do we fight people who can make us look like... The intercom buzzes again. Mr. Blackwood, there are more reporters here. They're asking about allegations of financial impropriety, about whether you've used company funds for personal expenses related to. Sebastian cuts off the intercom, but the damage is done. Camila stares at him in horror. Financial impropriety? Sebastian, what does that mean? It means they're making it sound like I've stolen money to spend on you, Sebastian says, and the words taste like acid. It means they're turning our relationship into a business scandal. Camila stands up abruptly, starts pacing his kitchen like a caged animal. We have to make a statement. We have to tell them the truth. The truth. Sebastian laughs, but there's no humor in it. The truth is that I'm a billionaire who fell in love with his cleaning lady. The truth is that you work 2 jobs to take care of your mother and barely make enough to survive. The truth is that this looks exactly like every gold digger story they've ever written. But it's not, Camila says desperately. You know it's not. I never asked you for anything. I tried to refuse your help. It doesn't matter what we know. Sebastian's voice is getting louder, frustration and fear making him cruel. It matters what it looks like. And it looks like you targeted me, manipulated me, made me fall in love with you so I'd take care of you and your mother. Camila stops pacing, stares at him like he slapped her. Is that what you think? No. Sebastian runs his hands through his hair, feels like he's drowning. God, no. But that's what everyone else is going to think. That's what the board thinks, what the press thinks, what the whole world is going to think. His phone rings again, a different phone, his work line. Sebastian looks at the caller ID and his heart sinks. It's the chairman of his board. I have to take this, he says to Camila, then answers. Richard. Sebastian. Richard Whitmore's voice is ice cold. I assume you've seen the morning's developments. If you mean the invasion of my privacy, then yes. I mean the threat to this company's reputation. We're calling an emergency meeting for 2 o'clock. I strongly suggest you attend. And if I don't? Then we'll proceed without you. The board has lost confidence in your judgment, Sebastian. These allegations suggest that you may have compromised the company's interests for personal reasons. What allegations? I haven't done anything wrong. Haven't you? Richard's voice is sharp. Using company resources for personal entertainment? Allowing your judgment to be clouded by an inappropriate relationship? Sebastian, you've missed board meetings, delayed crucial acquisitions, ignored your fiduciary responsibilities. I've done nothing illegal. Perhaps not. But you've done something worse. You've made us look foolish. The shareholders are already calling, asking questions. The press is speculating about your mental state, your ability to lead. This woman has destroyed your credibility. This woman. The dismissive phrase makes Sebastian see red. Her name is Camila, and she hasn't destroyed anything. Hasn't she? Look around, Sebastian. Look at what your life has become. 3 months ago, you were one of the most respected CEOs in the country. Now you're a punchline. Now you're the billionaire who fell for his cleaning lady's sob story. Each word is a knife in Sebastian's chest, not because they're true, but because he can see exactly how this looks from the outside. How it will always look, no matter what they do or say. The meeting is at 2, Richard continues. We'll discuss your options then. But Sebastian? I'd strongly advise you to think very carefully about what you're willing to sacrifice for this relationship. Because right now, it's looking like everything. Richard hangs up, and Sebastian stands in his kitchen, surrounded by the wreckage of his perfect life, staring at the woman he loves and realizing that loving her might destroy them both. What did they say? Camila asks quietly. Sebastian can't meet her eyes. They want me to choose. The company or you. Then you choose the company. The words come out so quickly, so definitively, that Sebastian actually steps back. What? You choose the company. Camila's voice is steady now, resigned. You choose your life, your work, everything you built before you met me. Camila, no. Sebastian, listen to me. She crosses to him, takes his hands in hers. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is why I said no when you first told me you loved me. I knew this would happen. This isn't your fault. Isn't it? Tears are streaming down her face now, but her voice remains steady. I'm the one who let you into my life. I'm the one who told you about my mother, who made you want to help. I'm the one who made you fall in love with someone you could never be with. Don't say that. It's true. Camila pulls her hands away, steps back. Look at us, Sebastian. Really look at us. You're willing to give up everything, your company, your reputation, your future, for someone like me. Someone who brings nothing but problems, nothing but complications. You bring everything, Sebastian says desperately. You bring love, happiness, meaning. I bring scandal. Her voice breaks on the word. I bring shame. I bring photographers to your door and reporters calling you at home and board members questioning your judgment. Sebastian's phone buzzes with a text. Then another. Then another. He ignores them, but Camila picks up his cracked phone, reads the messages, and her face goes white. What is it? Sebastian asks, but he already knows it's going to be bad. The nursing home, Camila whispers. Someone called the state health department. They're doing an inspection this afternoon. They're threatening to pull their license. Sebastian feels like he's been punched in the stomach. They can't do that. They can if they find violations. And they will find violations, Sebastian. It's an underfunded facility that's barely hanging on. If they want to find problems, they'll find them. Camila is shaking now, her hands trembling as she clutches his phone. If they lose their license, my mother will have nowhere to go. The waiting lists for other facilities are years long, and I can't afford private care. Sebastian reaches for her, but she backs away. This is what they meant, isn't it? She says. When your friend said they'd come for me. This is how they make sure you choose them over me. They destroy everything I care about. We'll fight this. How? With what money? What lawyers? Sebastian, these people have more power than I can even comprehend. They can destroy my mother's care with a phone call, make me look like a criminal with a press release. What chance do I have against that? You have me. Camila stares at him for a long moment, and Sebastian can see something dying in her eyes. Hope, maybe. Or faith. Or love. For how long? She asks quietly. How long before you realize that being with me costs too much? How long before you start to resent me for what I've taken from you? That's not going to happen. It already is happening. Camila's voice is hollow now, defeated. You just got off the phone with your board, and they're ready to vote you out. Your best friend is warning you to stay away from me. Reporters are calling you a fool. And it's all because of me. Sebastian wants to argue, wants to tell her she's wrong, but the evidence is overwhelming. 3 months ago, he was untouchable. Now he's standing in his kitchen, watching his empire crumble, all because he fell in love with the wrong woman. Not wrong for him. Never wrong for him. But wrong for his world, wrong for his life, wrong for everything he's spent 20 years building. I won't choose, he says finally. I won't let them force me to give you up. Camila smiles then, but it's the saddest smile Sebastian has ever seen. You don't have to choose, Sebastian. Because I'm choosing for both of us. What do you mean? I mean I'm leaving. The words hit Sebastian like a physical blow. I'm quitting my job at the nursing home, I'm finding somewhere else for my mother, and I'm leaving New York. No. Sebastian reaches for her again, and this time she lets him catch her hands. Camila, no. We can figure this out. We can fight them, we can. We can't fight them. Her voice is gentle now, infinitely sad. They have all the power, all the money, all the influence. We have love, and that's beautiful, but it's not enough. Not against this. It has to be enough. Look around, Sebastian. Camila gestures at his penthouse, at the cracked phone still buzzing with calls from reporters, at the laptop that contains photos of their most private moments. Look what our love has already cost. Your reputation, your company, my mother's care. How much more are you willing to lose? Everything, Sebastian says without hesitation. I'm willing to lose everything for you. Well, I'm not willing to let you. Camila pulls her hands away, and Sebastian feels like she's taking pieces of his heart with her. I'm not willing to be the reason you throw away everything you've worked for. I'm not willing to be the reason your mother loses her care. Camila, please. I love you, she says, and the words are like a goodbye. I love you more than I've ever loved anything in my life. But sometimes love means walking away. Sometimes love means protecting the person you care about from yourself. She turns toward the bedroom, and Sebastian realizes she's going to pack, she's going to leave, she's going to walk out of his life like she was never there at all. Don't do this, he calls after her. Don't make this decision for both of us. Camila stops in the doorway, doesn't turn around. I already have. When the world turns against your love, how do you know if you're fighting for something real or just being stubborn? Sometimes the people who love us most are the ones who walk away to protect us. What would you do? Fight the world or let go to save the person you love? Share your thoughts below. And Sebastian stands alone in his kitchen, surrounded by the ruins of his perfect life, understanding for the first time that sometimes losing everything isn't the worst thing that can happen to you. Sometimes the worst thing is having everything you ever wanted and watching it walk away because you weren't strong enough to protect it. Sebastian doesn't remember Camila leaving. He knows she packed her things, the few items she'd left at his penthouse over the months they were together. A toothbrush. Some clothes. A book she'd been reading. But he doesn't remember watching her gather them, doesn't remember the sound of the door closing behind her, doesn't remember the moment when his home went from feeling like a sanctuary to feeling like a mausoleum. He just knows that one moment she was there, and the next she wasn't, and the silence in his penthouse is so complete it makes his ears ring. The board meeting happens without him. Sebastian sits in his living room, staring at the city through his floor-to-ceiling windows, while Patricia calls every 15 minutes to update him on his professional execution. The vote of no confidence passes unanimously. James is named interim CEO pending a full investigation into Sebastian's use of company resources. Sebastian's corporate email is deactivated. His access to company buildings is revoked. 20 years of work. Gone. Sir. Patricia's voice comes through his landline, the only phone he hasn't destroyed in the past 24 hours. The press is asking for a statement. Sebastian doesn't answer. Can't answer. His throat feels like it's filled with concrete. Sir, they're saying some very unkind things about Ms. Reyes. Perhaps if you issued a statement clarifying the nature of your relationship. Ms. Reyes. Even Patricia, who's worked for him for 8 years, can't bring herself to say Camila's name. As if saying it might be contagious, might somehow taint her by association. Sir. Sebastian hangs up the phone and unplugs it from the wall. The first week passes in a haze of numbness. Sebastian moves through his penthouse like a ghost, going through the motions of living without actually being alive. He showers because his body demands it. He eats because hunger becomes painful. He sleeps because exhaustion eventually claims him. But he doesn't live. He finds himself standing in his kitchen at odd hours, staring at the spot where Camila used to leave his coffee, where she used to hum while she cleaned, where she used to smile at him like he was the most important thing in her world. The marble countertops are spotless, professionally cleaned by the service Patricia hired to replace the work Camila used to do. But they feel wrong, sterile, like a museum display of someone else's life. There are no white roses by his bed. Sebastian tries to go back to work, not at his company, he's been effectively exiled from that, but he attempts to start something new. He sits at his desk with his laptop open, staring at blank spreadsheets and empty email drafts, trying to remember why any of it ever mattered. It doesn't. Without Camila to come home to, without her voice asking about his day, without her hands in his hair and her laugh echoing through his penthouse, work feels like an elaborate game he no longer understands the rules to. The second week, the anger comes. It hits him like a physical force, burning through the numbness with the intensity of a wildfire. Sebastian paces his penthouse like a caged animal, rage making his hands shake and his vision blur. He wants to break things, wants to scream, wants to find every person who drove Camila away and make them pay for what they've taken from him. He calls James at 2 a.m., drunk on expensive whiskey and fury. Do you know what you've done? Sebastian's words slur together, but his anger is crystal clear. Do you have any idea what you've destroyed? Sebastian, where are you? Are you okay? I'm in hell, Sebastian laughs, but there's no humor in it. I'm in the hell you and the board and every other bastard in $1,000 suit created for me. Sebastian. She's gone. The words come out broken, desperate. She's gone, and it's your fault. All of you. You couldn't stand that I was happy, could you? You couldn't stand that I found something that mattered more than profit margins and shareholder meetings. That's not what this was about. Wasn't it? Sebastian throws his glass across the room, watches it shatter against the wall. Wasn't it about putting me back in my place? Making sure I remembered that men like us don't get to have real love, real connection? We get transactions, arrangements, relationships that look good on paper and feel like nothing at all. Sebastian, you're drunk. Let me come over. Don't. Sebastian's voice is deadly quiet now. Don't come here. Don't call me. Don't pretend you give a damn about my well-being when you're the one who orchestrated my destruction. He hangs up and throws the phone across the room too. The third week, Sebastian tries to find her. He drives to the nursing home first, but the security guard won't let him past the front desk. Camila doesn't work there anymore, he's told. Left without notice. No forwarding address. He goes to her apartment, the narrow brownstone where he'd watched her disappear that first night he followed her. The landlord is suspicious, protective, clearly warned that someone might come looking for her. She's gone, the woman says, arms crossed, blocking the doorway like she's guarding state secrets. Paid up her lease and left. Didn't say where she was going. Please, Sebastian says, and he hears the desperation in his own voice, hears how pathetic he sounds. I just need to know if she's okay. If she's safe. She's safer away from you, the woman says, and closes the door in his face. Sebastian sits in his car outside the brownstone for 3 hours, hoping Camila will appear, hoping this is all some terrible mistake, hoping she'll come home and he can fix this, can make it right. She doesn't come. He hires private investigators, the same kind of people who destroyed them in the first place. They find nothing. Camila Reyes has disappeared as completely as if she never existed, taking her mother with her, leaving no trace of where they've gone or how they're surviving. The 4th week, the depression hits like a physical weight. Sebastian stops leaving his penthouse. Stops showering regularly. Stops answering the door when Patricia comes by with documents to sign, legal papers related to the dissolution of his business empire. He exists on takeout and alcohol, moving from his bed to his couch to his kitchen in an endless, meaningless cycle. He finds himself in Camila's old bedroom, the guest room where she used to change clothes before her shifts at the nursing home. It still smells faintly of her shampoo, that simple clean scent that used to make him feel like he was home. Sebastian lies on the bed she used to sleep in and tries to remember what it felt like to be happy. He can't. The memories are there, Camila laughing at something he said, Camila curled against his side in the morning light, Camila looking at him like he was worth something more than his bank account, but they feel like scenes from someone else's life. Like a movie he watched once and can barely remember. His phone rings constantly. Reporters wanting statements. Lawyers wanting signatures. Patricia wanting instructions. Sebastian ignores them all. What's the point? His company is gone. His reputation is destroyed. The only person who ever truly mattered to him has vanished into thin air. He's 45 years old, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and he has absolutely nothing. The breaking point comes on a Tuesday. Sebastian wakes up, if you can call the fitful unconsciousness he's been experiencing sleep, and realizes it's been exactly 1 month since Camila left. 1 month since he last heard her voice, saw her smile, felt her hands in his. He goes to make coffee, muscle memory carrying him to the kitchen, and finds himself standing at the counter where she used to leave his morning cup. Perfect temperature, perfect sweetness, made with a care and attention that had nothing to do with obligation and everything to do with love. The coffee maker is still there. The expensive beans he used to buy just because she mentioned liking them. The special mug she always used, the one she said fit perfectly in her hands. Sebastian makes coffee the way she taught him, following the precise steps she'd shown him during one of their lazy Sunday mornings. But when he tastes it, it's wrong. Bitter. Empty. Like everything else in his life. He throws the mug against the wall and falls to his knees in his pristine kitchen, surrounded by the wreckage of his perfect life, and finally, lets himself break completely. The sobs come from somewhere deep in his chest, from a place he didn't know existed. Raw, animal sounds that echo through his empty penthouse like a wounded creature crying for its lost mate. Sebastian curls into himself on the cold marble floor and cries for everything he's lost, everything he's failed to protect, everything he'll never have again. He cries for Camila, wherever she is, hoping she's safe and knowing she's probably struggling to survive without the support he could have provided if he'd been stronger, braver, better at fighting for what mattered. He cries for Elena, confused and frightened in some new facility, wondering why her daughter's visits have stopped, why nothing is familiar anymore. He cries for himself, for the man he used to be before he learned what love felt like, when emptiness was just the default state of his existence instead of a gaping wound that threatens to swallow him whole. Sebastian lies on his kitchen floor until the sun sets and darkness swallows his penthouse, until the cold marble makes his bones ache, until he has no tears left to shed. And then, in the darkness and silence, something shifts. It's not hope, he's too broken for hope. It's not determination, he's too exhausted for that. It's something smaller, quieter, but somehow more powerful. It's the simple, stubborn refusal to let this be the end of the story. Sebastian drags himself off the floor, cleans up the broken mug, and does something he hasn't done in a month. He picks up his phone and makes a call. Patricia? It's Sebastian. I need you to set up a meeting. Not with the board, not with lawyers. With someone who can help me find her. Because if love is worth fighting for, then it's worth fighting for completely. And Sebastian Blackwood may have lost everything else, but he hasn't lost the will to fight for the only thing that ever truly mattered. Sometimes we have to lose everything to understand what's truly worth saving. Have you ever hit rock bottom and found that the only way out was to stop running from the thing that scared you most? Share your story of finding strength in your darkest moment. We all need reminders that the night doesn't last forever. It takes Sebastian 3 weeks to find her. 3 weeks of hiring the best investigators money can buy, of following paper trails and bank records and medical transfers across 4 states. 3 weeks of sleepless nights and relentless determination, fueled by something deeper than hope, stronger than desperation. Love. Pure, stubborn, unbreakable love. The trail leads to Portland, Oregon. A small city where no one knows the name Sebastian Blackwood, where a woman and her ailing mother can disappear into the comfortable anonymity of ordinary life. Camila is working at a diner called Mel's, pulling double shifts to afford a studio apartment and care for Elena, who's been placed in a state facility that's clean but overcrowded, understaffed, nothing like the attention she needs. Sebastian sits in his rental car across the street from Mel's diner at 5:47 a.m. on a Thursday morning, watching through the large windows as Camila moves between tables, coffee pot in hand, smile forced but professional. She looks thinner than he remembers, tired in a way that goes deeper than exhaustion. But she's still beautiful. Still graceful. Still the woman who changed everything about what he thought life could be. And she still hums while she works. The sound carries across the empty street in the pre-dawn quiet, the same unconscious melody she used to hum in his penthouse, and Sebastian feels something crack open in his chest. She's surviving. She's working, taking care of herself and her mother, building a new life from nothing. But she's not living. He can see it in the careful way she moves, the professional distance she maintains with customers, the way she checks her watch constantly like she's counting down the minutes until she can escape. This isn't the woman who left roses by his bedside and laughed at his terrible cooking attempts and made him feel like the most important person in her world. This is someone going through the motions of existence, just like he was before he met her. Sebastian watches for 3 hours, until Camila's shift ends and she walks 6 blocks to a bus stop, then rides 45 minutes to the care facility where her mother lives. He follows at a distance, his heart breaking a little more with each glimpse of her solitary routine. At the nursing home, Sebastian sees Elena through a window. She's smaller than he remembers, more fragile, sitting alone in a common room while chaos swirls around her. The facility is understaffed, the residents underserved, and Sebastian can see why Camila looks so tired. She's probably spending every free moment here, trying to make up for the care her mother isn't receiving. But he doesn't approach. Not yet. First, he has something else to do. The flight back to New York takes 6 hours. Sebastian spends every minute of it planning, strategizing, preparing for a confrontation that's been 5 weeks in the making. He lands at JFK at 11 p.m. and goes directly to his penthouse, where he makes a series of phone calls that will either restore his life or destroy what's left of it. The first call is to his lawyer. I want you to prepare a complete financial disclosure of my personal assets, separate from the company. Everything. Bank accounts, investments, real estate, the works. Sebastian, why would you? Just do it. I need it by morning. The second call is to the private investigator who found Camila. I need you to compile a complete dossier on every member of my former board of directors. Financial records, personal relationships, business dealings. Everything you found on me and more. That's going to take time. You have 48 hours. The third call is to Patricia. Schedule an emergency meeting with the board. Tell them I have a proposition. Sir, you don't have the authority to call board meetings anymore. Tell them I'm going to go public with everything. Every backroom deal, every questionable decision, every dirty secret they've been hiding. Tell them I'll burn the whole company down unless they hear me out. Sebastian. Tell them. 48 hours later, Sebastian walks into the conference room where his professional life was ended, carrying a briefcase full of documents and a determination forged in 5 weeks of hell. The board is there, all of them. Richard Whitmore, looking imperious and annoyed. The other members, shifting uncomfortably in their chairs. And James, sitting at the head of the table in Sebastian's old seat, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Gentlemen," Sebastian says, taking the seat he's offered at the far end of the table, the position reserved for supplicants and subordinates. "Thank you for seeing me." "You have 15 minutes, Richard says. "And then we're calling security." "I won't need 15 minutes. Sebastian opens his briefcase, removes a stack of folders. "I'm here to discuss the terms of my reinstatement as CEO. The silence that follows is deafening. Then Richard laughs. Actually laughs. "Sebastian, I think the stress has affected your judgment even more than we thought. You're not getting reinstated. You're not getting anything from this company except the door. I think you're mistaken." Sebastian slides the first folder across the table. "That's a complete financial analysis of the Henderson acquisition that you approved in my absence. The acquisition I was supposedly too distracted to handle properly." Richard opens the folder, and Sebastian watches his face change. "As you can see, the deal you made will cost the company approximately $200 million more than my original proposal. The terms are less favorable, the timeline is unrealistic, and the integration plan is fundamentally flawed." Sebastian slides another folder. "That's documentation of the Tokyo expansion that James approved. It violates 3 international trade agreements and exposes the company to significant legal liability." Another folder. "Your decision to short-sell our pharmaceutical division stocks while negotiating a merger, which, by the way, constitutes insider trading." One by one, Sebastian documents their failures, their mistakes, their questionable decisions made in the 5 weeks since they forced him out. By the time he's finished, the men who destroyed his life are staring at him in stunned silence. "Here's my proposition," Sebastian says. "You reinstate me as CEO with full authority. You issue a public statement acknowledging that the allegations against me were unfounded. And you make a formal apology to Ms. Reyes for the harassment and invasion of privacy she suffered." "And if we refuse?" James asks quietly. Sebastian smiles, but there's no warmth in it. "Then I go public with all of this. Every mistake, every bad decision, every legal liability you've created. I'll make sure every financial journalist in the country knows exactly how incompetent this board has become without me. Your stock price will crater, your shareholders will revolt, and you'll all be out of jobs by Christmas." "You can't do that," Richard sputters. "The confidentiality agreements don't apply to whistleblowing activities protected under federal law," Sebastian finishes. "My lawyer was very thorough." The room falls silent again. Sebastian can see them calculating, weighing their options, trying to find a way out of the trap he set for them. "There's something else," Sebastian says quietly. "The private investigator you hired to follow Ms. Reyes? He also compiled some interesting information about each of you. Richard, did you know that your brother-in-law's construction company has been overcharging us for office renovations by about 30%? And James, those client dinners you've been expensing? The ones with women who aren't your wife." James goes pale. "Sebastian." "I'm not threatening you," Sebastian says. "I'm explaining the situation. You destroyed my relationship with the woman I love because you were afraid it would make the company look bad. But your behavior, your actual behavior, not your fears about mine, has already made the company look bad. And I have documentation. What do you want?" Richard asks finally. "I told you what I want. My job back. A public apology to Camila. And one more thing." Sebastian leans forward. "I want your resignation, Richard. And I want James to step down as interim CEO immediately." "That's impossible. It's justice." Sebastian's voice is steel now, forged in weeks of pain and loss and sleepless nights. "You used your power to destroy an innocent woman's life because you didn't approve of my personal choices. You cost me the love of my life because you were more concerned with appearances than actual performance. You nearly destroyed a company that was thriving under my leadership because you couldn't accept that I had found something more important than quarterly profits." Sebastian stands, looks at each of them in turn. "I've learned something in the weeks since you forced me out. I learned that love, real love, is worth fighting for. Worth sacrificing for. Worth building a life around. And I learned that men who have never experienced that kind of love will try to destroy it in others, because they can't stand to see someone else have what they'll never understand. Sebastian, James says quietly, what we did, we thought we were protecting the company. You were protecting yourselves. Your narrow worldview, your small lives, your inability to comprehend that there might be something in this world worth more than money and power. Sebastian closes his briefcase. You have 24 hours to decide. Reinstatement and apologies, or I burn it all down and start over without you. He walks toward the door, then pauses. Oh, and James? That woman you were so sure was manipulating me? She never asked me for a single thing. Never wanted my money, never wanted my connections, never wanted anything from me except my heart. And I gave it to her gladly, because she was the only person who ever saw me as more than a bank account with legs. Sebastian leaves them sitting in stunned silence and drives directly to the airport. 24 hours later, he's back in Portland, standing outside Mel's diner at 5:47 a.m., watching Camila prepare for another day of survival. But this time, he doesn't just watch. This time, he goes inside. The bell above the door chimes as Sebastian enters, and Camila looks up from the coffee machine with her professional smile already in place. The smile dies when she sees him. Sebastian. Her voice is barely a whisper, and Sebastian can see her hands trembling as she sets down the coffee pot. What are you doing here? I came to bring you home, he says simply. I can't. The words come out quickly, desperately. I can't go back to that, to the reporters and the scandal and... There is no scandal. Sebastian reaches into his jacket, pulls out a newspaper, the New York Times business section, hot off the press. Page 1. Camila takes the paper with shaking hands, reads the headline, Blackwood reinstated as CEO after board admits error. I don't understand, she says. The board issued a public apology. To me and to you. They acknowledged that their allegations were unfounded, that their actions were driven by prejudice rather than legitimate business concerns. Sebastian steps closer, and this time she doesn't back away. They also announced significant changes in company leadership and policies to prevent this kind of harassment in the future. How? Because I fought for us. Sebastian's voice is quiet, intense. Because I learned that sometimes love isn't just about being willing to sacrifice everything. Sometimes it's about being willing to fight for everything. I should have done it from the beginning. I should have protected you instead of expecting you to sacrifice yourself to protect me. Tears are gathering in Camila's eyes. Sebastian, I can't just go back to the way things were. Too much has happened. I don't want to go back to the way things were, Sebastian says. I want to build something new. Something better. Something that can survive whatever the world throws at us. He reaches into his other pocket, pulls out a small velvet box. Camila gasps, takes a step back. Sebastian, no. I can't. You can't marry me because you think I'm asking out of guilt or obligation or some misguided attempt to fix what happened. Sebastian opens the box, revealing a simple, elegant ring, not ostentatious, not designed to impress, but beautiful in its simplicity. But I'm not asking because of any of that. Then why? Because I love you. Because you're the only person who's ever made me feel truly alive. Because I want to spend the rest of my life making sure you never have to choose between medication and food again, never have to work yourself to exhaustion, never have to face the world alone. I'm not going to be your charity case. You're going to be my partner. Sebastian's voice is firm now, certain. My equal. The woman I build a life with, not the woman I rescue. I've set up a foundation, Camila. For Alzheimer's research and family support. I want you to run it. I want your experience, your insight, your compassion to help other families facing what you faced. Camila stares at him in shock. You want me to run a foundation? I want you to change the world, Sebastian says simply. The way you changed mine. What about my mother? Elena has been transferred to the best memory care facility on the West Coast. Private room, dedicated staff, experimental treatment programs. She'll have everything she needs, and you'll be able to see her whenever you want. Sebastian, I can't let you. You're not letting me do anything. We're doing it together. As partners. As equals. As the family we're going to build. Sebastian drops to one knee in the middle of the diner, and Camila's hands fly to her mouth. "Camila Elena Reyes," he says, and his voice is strong and clear and absolutely certain. "You are the strongest, most compassionate, most beautiful woman I've ever known. You taught me what love actually means. You showed me that there are things in this world worth more than money, worth more than power, worth fighting for with everything you have." Other customers are starting to stare, but Sebastian doesn't care. The only person who matters is looking down at him with tears streaming down her face. "I'm not the same man who hired you to clean his penthouse," Sebastian continues. "I'm not the man who thought love was a luxury he couldn't afford. I'm the man you made me into, someone who understands that the only wealth that matters is the love we build with the people who see us, really see us for who we are." Sebastian. "Marry me, Camila. Not because I need you, though I do. Not because you need me, though I hope you do. Marry me because together we're better than we are apart. Marry me because love like ours doesn't come along twice in a lifetime. Marry me because you want to spend the next 50 years making the world a little bit better, a little bit kinder, a little bit more beautiful." Camila is crying openly now, and Sebastian can see the exact moment when her walls finally, completely come down. When she stops protecting herself from the possibility of happiness and lets herself believe that this could be real, could be permanent, could be the beginning of everything she never dared to dream of. "Yes," she whispers. "Yes. Yes." Camila laughs through her tears as Sebastian slips the ring onto her finger, as the other diner customers break into spontaneous applause, as her new life begins with a word that sounds like a prayer and a promise and a declaration of war against everyone who ever told her she wasn't worth loving completely. Sebastian stands, pulls her into his arms, kisses her with 6 weeks of desperate longing and the promise of 60 years of devotion. And Camila kisses him back with everything she has, everything she is, everything she's going to become. "I love you," she says against his lips. "I love you too," Sebastian replies. "Forever." 6 months later. The foundation offices are bustling with activity, filled with social workers and researchers and families who found hope in the wake of their darkest moments. Camila moves through the space with confidence now, no longer the exhausted woman working 2 jobs to survive, but someone who's found her calling, her purpose, her place in the world. Sebastian watches her from his office doorway, marveling at the transformation. Not just in her, but in himself. He's still CEO of his company, still wealthy beyond measure, still powerful in all the ways the world counts power. But now he knows what real power looks like. Real power is the ability to change someone's life for the better. Real power is love that survives being tested. Real power is choosing to build something meaningful instead of just accumulating something impressive. "Mr. Blackwood." His assistant's voice breaks into his thoughts. "Your wife is here." Wife. The word still makes Sebastian's heart skip. They were married 3 months ago in a small ceremony attended by Elena, who had a rare moment of complete clarity and walked Camila down the aisle, and a handful of friends who understood that some love stories are worth celebrating. "Send her in," Sebastian says, but Camila is already pushing past his assistant, 6 months pregnant and glowing with happiness and purpose. "How's my beautiful wife?" Sebastian asks, pulling her into his arms. "Tired," Camila admits, leaning into his embrace. "But good tired. Happy tired." "How's our beautiful daughter?" "Active." Camila places Sebastian's hand on her growing belly. "I think she's going to be a dancer. Or a boxer. It's hard to tell." Sebastian feels his daughter kick against his palm and thinks about all the ways this child will be different from him. She'll grow up knowing she's loved unconditionally. She'll understand that wealth means nothing without compassion, that success means nothing without connection, that power means nothing without purpose. She'll grow up watching her parents choose each other every day, fight for each other when the world tries to tear them apart, build something beautiful out of the mess life hands them. "What are you thinking about?" Camila asks, studying his face. "Just this," Sebastian says, the same words he spoke to her that Sunday morning a lifetime ago, when they were still learning how to love each other. "You. Us. How different everything is now. Good different or bad different. The best different," Sebastian says, and kisses his wife, his partner, his equal, the woman who taught him that some things are worth losing everything for, and some things are worth fighting for with everything you have. And in the busy offices of the Elena Reyes Foundation for Alzheimer's Research and Family Support, surrounded by the good work they're doing together, Sebastian Blackwood finally understands what it means to be truly wealthy. True love isn't about finding someone who completes you, it's about finding someone who inspires you to become complete on your own, then choosing to build something extraordinary together. What does real partnership look like to you? Share a story about a relationship that changed you for the better, whether romantic, friendship, or family. Sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones where two people make each other brave enough to become who they were always meant to be.